I'm back. So it seems like I'm not the only one that find this thing very, very, very appealing. My fiance must have had, went through the box, wanted to see what it was like for herself. So, hey, she got to smell it, so I can't knock her. But yeah, bottle style, and I love this bottle style. I love this bottle style. It's almost like it's squarish, matte white. Got the motorcycle that's actually coming off of the bottle, the 3D definition of it. You got your half sun. I'm loving how Lattafa is always, creative with what they presenting to us. They're not half-assing it. They're not just throwing something together, giving us these, mediocre, plain Jane, just BS bottles. They're giving us the whole nine. They're giving us art pieces that we can throw on our shelves, look at, admire. And sometimes it'd be a little difficult once you, clear this juice out in this bottle to kind of get rid of the bottle because it's very beautiful and it's very, artistic. So, you know how we do on the channel. Put this joint in the air, put it on testing strip. And again, I've worn this thing for 2 days. So, I already have some type of idea. Decent atomizer. Very fresh in the air. Now, what I'm getting is, this is inspired by clone, dupe. I would say this is a clone, and I don't really go on a limb and say what's clones or what's not clones. However, I will go on a limb and say that this is a clone due to the note composition. I will post the notes for this fragrance, and I will post the notes for Paca Rabanne, which they going by Rabanne now. They dropped the Paca. I don't know what's going on with that, but they dropped that, and now they're just going by Rabanne 1 million elixir. I've got my nose on 1 million elixir. I had the opportunity to grab it. I thought about it, but I mean, it smells great. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's really what it is. It's really that. It's what people say it is. But my favorite out of, that line is 1 million Lucky. So I went with that. Sometimes you just got to pick and choose what fits you best, what you want to wear, what you want to smell like. So to get a $30 clone of Rabanne's 1 million elixir, I'll take that all day. I'll take that all day. No doubt about it. So in the air fresh. A lot of people, talk about how the apple is like the centerpiece of this fragrance. And I agree. I really do. In its opening. That apple is abundant. Like it's a beautiful, sweet, rich apple. Almost as if you take a knife and peel the skin off of the apple, and just that skin and that first peel piece of the apple that just had that nice, refreshing, fruity apple kind of vibe to it. So that's what I got in the opening when I first sprayed it. That burst of that apple, green apple is very sweet. It's just nice, really nice, very beautiful. So you got some florals in there. And then as it starts to transition, the apple fades. It still has that sweetness though from the apple, but it's slowly, transition from that to your florals. And then, your woods kind of kick in. You got some vanilla and tonka bean in there that kind of like, the two of those, it gives it that foundation along with the cedar wood. So that vanilla is like a theme in there as well, which, that's what give it that connection with that 1 million elixir. It has that nice, smooth vanilla, tonka bean, and cedar wood kind of vibe to it. So you're getting that, right off the transition transitional period of it. In its dry down, it's still a little sweet, very potent, very, very loud, very potent, very loud. This thing, it lasted all day. It sat around all day. I smelled it as if it was the first time that I sprayed it. Like, it didn't like fall back at no point. It just, man, it just exuded. It just, you know, kind of came off of my skin, and it was just there. And I was aware that it was there because I smelled it all day. So on the power and intensity, it's a thumbs up. It's definitely going to represent for you. You won't have to worry about that. It's not going to get weak and kind of fall off on you, and you just don't know if it's there. Just be, you know, by how potent that it is, I'm assuming that its projection is as loud as it is, as far as, you know, you smelling it, you know, coming off of your skin and your clothing. People around you is definitely going to smell it. The sillage, I would say that, you know, it's probably pretty good. I didn't really test it in, you know, my work environment. I was off for the last couple of days that I wore it. So, you know, I just was, you know, running a few errands with it. Didn't want to do too much because it's still hot. And I think that this is a fragrance that should be worn if you wear it during the summers, you know, more so in the evenings and nights. But I think it's geared toward fall and winter. Those you'll get your best wears out of this fragrance, because it was pretty cool last night, and you know, that wind was taking it, and I definitely was getting a strong whiff of it. So I could see it fall, winter being a very great wear, very great wear. On testing strip, you still get the apple, the rose. You don't get as much as the foundational accords in the fragrance, like, you know, the cedar wood and the tonka bean. You do get the vanilla. The vanilla is like, I believe, is a foundational structural part of the fragrance. I think that they were kind of like, you know, because that vanilla is bringing your sweetness to the fragrance, and it's definitely a sweet fragrance in the tradition of, you know, the 1 million line. It has that DNA and that profile. So that was the theme that they were going with this, I'm assuming. But when you see these notes and how the exact same accords are in each fragrance, like nothing missing, nothing added, and the only thing that's different is, you know, you might have one accord in the top that's from the middle, and one from the top that may be in the middle. But other than that, beautiful fragrance. I think that they did an excellent job, and this is like gonna be one of my favorites. It's gonna be one of my favorites because off of skin, you get that nice, rich apple, rose, and vanilla. In its dry down, that's when your woods, you know, you see the wood kick in, the tonka bean, the vanilla. It kind of like pushes the apple to the side, the rose to the side. You don't really get too much of that in its dry down. It becomes more of a based type of fragrance that is like rooted in like that thickness. You know, it gives it density in its dry down. So I'm loving it though. I'm like through its opening with the apple accord all the way through the middle transition down to its dry down. It's definitely a fragrance that I'm definitely gonna love to have on my shelf and wear. And this thing is at Burlington's for $30. So if you see it in Burlington, you're not gonna, you know, you're not, if you want to get Raban's 1 million elixir, but you don't really feel like spending that type of money for it, This is spot on. This is spot on. And when I first smelled it, I actually thought that it was a fragrance that I had. So I started going through my other fragrances like, man, what is this? I got this. I got this. This something it smelled like. But all the time, it was, 1 million elixir. And I had tested that at Macy's. So that's what took me back. And then I had to think about it. And I'm like, man, I started doing the research on it and seeing that, it was a clone of 1 million elixir. And that's when it clicked. I was like, yeah, that's it. But spot on. They did an excellent job with, trying to recreate that scent profile. They did their thing. And this is a plus in my book. I definitely, when I run out, I definitely will be grabbing another one. And again, I told you these bottle styles, for some reason to me, they seem to be like some of the best Lattafa fragrances. I don't have any bottle style of these fragrances that I really don't like. And that goes down to the Art of Fragrances line of Lattafa and the Pride line of Lattafa. They have these bottle styles and they be bangers. They be bangers. So, glad to add this to my collection. And now I'm going to go out on a limb to say this. Because I believe in speaking things into existence. And right now, I'm trying to speak this into existence. I'm waiting to go into Burlington's and see on that shelf La Collection Antique 1886. I see that in the stores. I'm definitely grabbing that and bringing it to the channel, because that's another one that sat in my cart for years, or a year, maybe last year. But that fragrance sat in my cart as well. And I think now that they starting to bring, these fragrances out of their repertoire, they gonna start dumping, the other ones in there. And I'm waiting on that one. You know what I mean? I'm definitely waiting on that one. And something else too. Burlington has opened or opening 100 new stores. 100 new stores. So with that being said, just imagine the fragrances that, they have to supply in their stores. The demand is high. 100 new stores, the demand is high. They just put up 2 new Burlingtons, in my city. 2 brand new Burlingtons. Just up. Out the ground, quick as hell. I went through there like, damn, I didn't even know this was here. But they putting them up there. They definitely gonna have to feed those shelves. They're gonna have to keep fragrances on those shelves. And I'm gonna tell you something else that I believe, and I'm speaking things into existence. If you see certain fragrances on these racks, it may be a strong possibility that after, some time, once they leave them stores, them fragrances may not come back to those stores. Especially the way the Lattafa is pumping them out. Think about it. And, I'm going to let y'all go because I ain't going to hold y'all too long. But this fragrance, when it first came out, they sold them. Bam, they were selling them. It went straight to discounters. Bam, bam, discounters selling as many as they can. Lattafa selling them from their website as many as they can. Bam, they drop it. It hit rack stores. Rack stores is probably the lowest of the totem pole. Once it hit the rack stores, they feel like, hey, look, we done wrung all the juice out of it. You see what I'm saying? We'll keep it on, we'll keep it on our website, or, we'll discontinue it. And that's what I'm thinking. Once these fragrances get discontinued, because Lattafa is creating so much. They creating so much. Some of these fragrances are gonna have to go into the back burner. I want to have these fragrances in my collection just in case, they become extinct. They discontinue them. And then, you know, it's going to be hard to find them. So before I let, you know, these fragrances sit on these on these shelves in these rack stores and somebody else grab them, I'm definitely going to add it to my collection. And the worthy ones, I'll grab a couple bottles. But yeah, that's what I got to say about this fragrance. Beautiful fragrance. I love it. It smells great. And it's spot on with that 1 million elixir. It's spot on. So if you're looking for that and you really don't want to spend that money like that, go to Burlington and get it for 30 bucks. And you're going to be in that, along the lines of that DNA. You're going to be in that family tree with that 1 million elixir. Yo, this your boy Zebo. I'm going to get up out of here. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, jump in the comments. Talk about it. If you got 1886, jump in the comments and let me know what you think about that, because, you know, I'm definitely curious about that, and I think that that's going to hit the stores next. You know, willful thinking. I'm really, really, really going to be checking them stores and waiting to see if that 1886 hit the stores. So I'm going to get up out of here. It's your boy. Peace.